It's time now for our Entre Nous segment, and today we're talking about immigration visas and residency permits in France, specifically the problems that many foreigners are facing to renew or even obtain these precious documents. For more on this, I'm joined on the set by our Solange Mougin. Solange, a legal case has just been filed about the bureaucracy that's involved here.
Yeah, 10 charities in France announced on April 8th that they filed a joint legal complaint to France's highest court, the Conseil d'État. And these organizations argue that dysfunctional bureaucracy is, quote, shattering the lives of foreigners in France. Organizations like Emmaüs, Secours Catholique, Coalia, La CIMAD, they've seized France's highest court and asked them to step in regard to these problems on the website that foreigners use to renew, obtain their carte de séjour, or their residency permits. Now, you could say this is just a bit of a buggy website. Why go all the way to France's highest court to rule on this? Well, the organizations say that they have repeatedly requested for changes from the Interior Ministry to no avail. So I'm going to explain how difficult it can be for foreigners, and then I'll go into how many of these permits were issued last year in France, and there are a lot of them, and to what nationalities as well. And finally, we'll discuss certain immigration cases that the government wants to issue more permits for. But first, the Bonkers bureaucracy. The website is called anef, which is the acronym for the Digital Administration for Foreigners in France. And its goal is to have the entire process be online for visas, permits, asylum requests. And this was put in place in 2021. But then in 2022, the Conseil d'État, they actually ordered the state to have an in-person alternative as well, ruling that it excluded some people unjustly. But most of these requests are online. That's the goal. And the hurdles are many according to foreigners. For example, scans that won't upload, requests that are never finished, and so you can't make a new one, or receipts that were never received. And that means someone who is legally here in France could suddenly become a sans-papier, or an illegal immigrant because of these bureaucratic breakdowns in the system, as we see in this clip from 2022.
To renew a residency permit, you needed to make the request 2 months before the card expires. Before, if they realized the card wouldn't be ready on time, they'd issue a document saying your case is being processed and your residency permit is extended until then. Now, I have nothing from the prefecture. I have nothing.
It really is Kafkaesque, and the number of complaints about the difficulty in getting these permits has really skyrocketed in recent years.
Yeah, it has. According to the French human rights body, there has been an increase of 400% of complaints about the process since the online requirement went into effect. This human rights body, they actually issued a damning report about the process. And in the words of these suing associations, these administrative hurdles and dead ends are, quote, shattering the lives, hindering foreigners' access to the job market, exacerbating foreigners' precarious situations, penalizing their employers and the groups that help them. These associations, they argue that the Interior Ministry is turning a deaf ear to this and actually multiplying the obstacles. Hence the case put forth by the Council of State, which not only reviews French laws, but they also arbitrate or they decide major conflicts between the government and the people.
Solange, earlier this year, France's Interior Ministry actually issued its immigration numbers. Where do things stand at the moment?
Yeah, like every year, the French Interior Ministry, they issued its figures of the number of visas, residency permits, asylum requests that it has processed. And in its report for 2024, it says that it issued over 336,000 new titres de séjour, or residency permits. These are documents that allow you to stay in France for longer periods and to potentially work as well. So that figure is slightly up, with main increases coming in for humanitarian cases, economic, and student reasons. In addition to these, the Interior Ministry said that it has reissued or renewed around 880,000 permits, which is up by 2%. And again, here, the main reasons were for economic cases, for foreigners that have jobs already in France, students as well coming to study here. In both cases, though, there was a drop in requests being granted for family reasons, or those that want to come to France to join someone who is already here. As for nationalities, well, the highest numbers are still from North Africa, although there was a drop last year in Algerian requests. This again ties into France's colonial history, as we're about to see in this clip from 1981, when you used to have to wait in very, very long lines for these precious documents.
People come at dawn. We've been waiting since 5 in the morning.
Without papers, you can't do anything. You need papers for everything. If I want to send a telegram today or tomorrow to my parents, how'd you do it without papers?
Now, as for other nations in 2024, there was also a marked increase in Americans, up over 5%, Afghans up near 8%, and Indians up nearly 9%. Overall, the latest figures show that immigration numbers were stable, that asylum requests were down, a trend that is actually happening across the European Union, and that in France, it is harder to go from being an illegal immigrant who's already here to a legal one to be able to stay. And also, there has been as well an uptick in the number of deportations of illegal immigrants.
And the French Interior Minister, Bruno Retailleau, is known for his hard line on immigration. But are there any areas where this is not the case?
There are, but first, the hard line. Bruno Retailleau actually issued a new circulaire or a memo guidebook in January to French prefects about how to treat cases, with instructions to focus less on family immigration and more on work immigration. But rights groups, they criticize this guidebook for its hard line, and also they say it puts too much power in the hands of the prefects, that it's too arbitrary. However, at the same time, other sectors of the French government have also said, hey, we need more foreigners. This is in regard namely to economic sectors that struggle to find qualified workers, but also the Cour des Comptes, France's financial overseer, has said that there needs to be, quote, a national strategy to get more foreign students to come to France. It issued a report last month that said that France is actually losing its global position when it comes to attracting foreign students, that after the U.S., France was in second place in the 1980s as an attractive place to come and study, but it has now slipped to seventh place worldwide for the French financiers, increasing by just 10% the number of foreign students. Well, it could actually bring in €1 billion to the French economy, but rights groups argue that France needs to get its foreign residency website into better running order for that to become a reality.
All right, Solange, thank you so much for that look at how difficult it is here in France to get your residency papers. Thank you very much. Well, we've been